Welcome back to the Gamescom LOL Challenge, powered by TeamSpeak and Overwolf. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get underway with our second semi-final game of today, SK Prime versus Ninjas in Pajamas. It is going to take 1 or 2 more minutes now, but we're almost there, I swear.
They're in lobby, just got to sort out some small things.
Yeah.
So we have the players, which is important, because we didn't have them earlier.
No, it did take a little bit longer than we had anticipated, but that is part and parcel of the way it is. Sometimes people disappear.
Yeah,
It has been known to happen in events.
They have fans. They want to say hello. You know.
Yes, that, and they go to the WC. They sometimes vanish. Sometimes people can't tell which one they've gone to.
Gamescom is pretty big.
A lot at Gamescom.
Yeah, Gamescom is pretty big. Looks pretty epic though.
Yeah.
Looks like an awesome place.
Never been. I intend
Have
to one day.
There you go.
One of these days I'll get there. But right now we are in the studio in London broadcasting the feed from Gamescom. The players themselves are at Gamescom, of course, so they are getting the full LAN experience. Crowds, people being watched,
Yeah.
etc.
Might be a bit loud though with the LCS around the corner.
Well, I don't know how around the corner it is.
Yeah, as we said, we've never been to Gamescom.
It's a vast area. So it could be around the corner, or it could be a literal mile away.
Very, very true. I think we are jumping into Champion Select. We are finally into the game.
Go.
Picks and bans coming in. It is Ninjas in Pajamas on the blue side and SK Prime on the purple or red side, whichever you prefer. So we do see Jarvan being the first ban. And honestly, it's kind of expected. Jarvan is exceptionally strong with pick in the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, it's also one of Kix's favorite junglers, and he is back in that jungle role. We have got Power of Evil mid laning here for SK Prime as opposed to Kickers, which we had yesterday. However, NIP are still running subs. They are still running a sub jungler and a sub mid. And when we talk about the most important synergy between 2 players in a team, it's usually mid and jungle. So we'll see how well they've
Well, it's also important.
solo queued together before.
Yeah, the bot lane also need a good bit of synergy.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
But yeah, I will agree with you. They do would tend known to have a good bit of synergy between the mid lane if they want to go for those dive up top or a coordinated, early dragon call. We do see Orianna, Maokai, and Fizz banned out. Maybe Power of Evil looking to get that Twisted Fate. Fizz obviously an incredibly hard counter to Twisted Fate.
Yeah, that is always a thing to be very alert for. Of course, there are still some very high priority picks out for mid, and you can't ban all of them at this point. Syndra, Twisted Fate, and Kassadin are all open. There's only 3 left. So, what will be picked? And of course, we are playing on 4.13 and Xerath. Actually, yeah, you don't
give Power of Evil Xerath.
Yeah, you don't want to slip that through. So,
ooh.
Yeah. Banning out iFresh. I'm so fresh.
Yeah. Well, we said he's not limited to Nunu, but obviously the SK Prime might have maybe assumed that the possibility, but they also might think that Nip might be trying to run a kind of a comfortable jungler for him, run something around that, but they do insta-lock the Syndra.
Yes, not too surprising if you're going to be picking a mid lane and you don't know what you're up against at this point. Syndra is not a bad choice. She's very, very strong laner, and she transitions pretty well outside of the laning phase. Now, Rengar, of course, remember, 4.13, so this is before the Rengar nerfs. It's also before the Rengar's new infinite damage bug.
Yes. They're going to lock in
I think
Lucian.
I've seen that in this patch. Lucian?
Yeah.
Ziz Zaitan. Favorite bot lane, I think, is Lucian Nami.
Yeah. Zaitan not a bad thresh either. He could go with that either, so they might pick a Morgana knowing that they might go with the Nami. They might pick up Nami knowing that they might pick up the Nami, so they might end up going with a Thresh as well. So we see a little bit of counterplay. The Rengar is locked in. Morgana being hovered over.
That's asking for a Nami pick.
It is. Nami is considered a very good counter to a lane Morgana, to a support lane Morgana. So unless they might want to go for a 2v1, knowing that Kikis isn't the greatest pre-6, or not Kikis, but Rengar isn't the greatest pre-6 ganker. They could do that a little bit safer, maybe.
Nib, we say Nami is a counter to Morgana, but it's a soft counter. It's something you can play against. You're not likely to be murdered by it straight up over and over, and they still have a flexible choice of 180 carry they're going to pick here. So I wouldn't pigeonhole them as planning on a 2v1 at this point. The option is open. But Morgana isn't actually necessarily even the best 2v1 laner. She
No.
is a strong lane support.
Yeah, and you see the Alistair, though, in the top lane. There's the Nami, most likely going to be locked in. Yeah, there it is. Zaitan, one of the favorite, Zaitan and Ziz's favorite support, just as a combo, because he works so well with it. Working with the Rengar, though, can kind of work. Get this.
Hello.
Oh, okay. A counter to Alistair, maybe.
It could function in that way, actually. Come to think of it, yes. The heavy sustain of Yorick can actually work against Alistar. He won't be able to bully him out, and Yorick may well be able to bully out Alistar. However, picking a Yorick composition with a Lucian carry is suboptimal.
Yeah, when you get to that late game, when you want to be, getting those team fights, if we do get to the late game, of course, we have to get there.
Yeah.
Where items and gold kind of at the peak of where they're ever going to be. You want to be, Lucian he's good, but he's not your hyper carry and crazy amount of auto attack damage. Kog'Maw, yes. Tristana, yes, but maybe not the Lucian.
No.
He's still strong, but not as strong as maybe other picks. But we just see a Vi locked in, and if they lock in this Vayne, nope, they're going to lock in the Kog'Maw.
Yeah.
And the Kog'Maw, except... Oh, never mind. There's the Tristana. Still
Okay.
very, very strong, but we'll have a better time against Lucian than Kog'Maw in the early game, but then once the mid game hits, Lucian should start overtaking.
Yeah, from a reasonably early stage, I would expect Lucian Nami in particular to have that edge over the Tristana Morgana. So what you said about 2v1s may come back, and Alistar is not a bad 2v1 laner. He will want to avoid the 1v1 from Yorick, so that possibility, the probability of that possibility occurring has increased quite significantly.
Yeah, now we see Power of Evil locking in that Zig, so he's got the anti-siege, he's also got the good amount of poke, as well as just kind of being able to be a general guard for lanes pushing in the other lanes with his ultimate, being able to throw them from mid lane to bot or top, depending on where he needs to be. Against Syndra, what do we make of that now? I've seen it a couple of times, it's kind
Risky, actually.
It's very risky.
Syndra is often picked as a direct counter to Ziggs. The stun enables you to actually close on Ziggs. Since it's such a long-range stun, even from bouncing bomb range, you are potentially going to get caught by the stun from Ziggs, and all you need is that one opportunity to either force him out of lane or kill him, which can then snowball against you very, very quickly. And it's not like Ziggs is going to push in so unbelievably fast that Syndra can't deal with that. She's also got very, very good wave clear here. So it's very much a confidence pick from Power of Evil. He's saying, this isn't a good matchup, but I'm going to win it anyway.
Yeah, I think as well, the Ziggs kind of works with the Rengar. Again, like you pick the Rengar with the intention of having some kind of amazing initiation coming from it. Like, I maybe would have liked to seen, obviously Orianna was banned. That's the kind of traditional combo we see. Again, as well, I would have said maybe the Syndra picked against them or picked up against them as well, away from them probably is the word I was looking for. Nami can kind of work with him, but it's very, very difficult to initiate with the tidal wave. Normally, you do need a little bit of hard CC beforehand.
I think the primary reason SK Prime have picked the Ziggs this game is that they want another later game threat. If they've only got Rengar, and Rengar is likely to build maybe some damage early, but be quite tanky by the end game, and they're relying on this Lucian, who does have the doubling effect from the Yorick, but he's not necessarily going to benefit from that to actually double his damage. They may well want for a late game damage extra in terms of their magic damage. So Ziggs does make a certain amount of sense from that perspective, but right now, Nip, Flash Pulverize is a very scary thing.
Yeah, they're not going to get it though. Good ward there by Smitty J. Gets them caught out. They also get seen coming down the river now. And I think this is pretty much just so SK Prime, they're going to get a little bit of early vision of Kikis' jungle path, which is, it's always helpful. Hasn't been put down just yet. They might go for a full invade, actually. They might actually stick around, stick to this red buff. Very, very early, though. But I think they're literally just trying to make SK Prime guess as to where their bot lane's going.
Yeah, they know where their opponents are very effectively here. You'll actually notice Voidal has gone for 2 pots and ward, which is something you don't see that commonly. put one ward in the enemy jungle, in that brush near Wraith. So they're going to have a very good idea of where Kikis is if he passes through there, which he's going to do it eventually. It's kind of the way you jungle.
There was a lot of wards, though, in that red side jungle, the top side.
Yeah, they were looking for Zizan's item.
Yeah, they were definitely figuring out where they are going. We are going to see the lane swap, though, as we talked about. Cabochard going to be walking around with I'm So Fresh. Bot lane duo going to go in as well. And it's going to hurt York a little bit now. Obviously, he won't get as much experience. He will be zoned out by Freeze and Voidal. Kikis get his blue buff, but not exactly the greatest of leashes, if any at all.
No, well, they didn't want to get into lane late because they didn't know they were in a 2 versus 1 situation. So they got there, didn't want to risk being pushed back by Tristana. As it is, though, SK Prime are going to have to adapt. Now, Yorick is actually a better 2v1 laner in terms of getting himself experience and farm than Alistar, but Alistar, from level 2 onwards, is a serious threat to anyone he comes into contact with. Pulverizing the headbutt, that crowd control. If you remember jungle Alistar, the way that used to play, really, really terrifying to gank with. Got presence in the jungle, then that may well come back to bite his opponents.
Yeah, we've seen Ziz and Zaitan not going for the freeze. They're definitely going for the early tower push. But with the speaking of early tower push, here comes 4 in the top lane. They might trade this for a very, very early dragon, but Rengar not the greatest at early dragons. If York does roll down after doing wolves, they shouldn't have too much of a problem. But tower for dragon this early, I would say tower definitely more worth.
In terms of gold,
yes,
it does definitely give you more gold. The issue here from NIP's perspective is that this is going to cause problems in terms of getting anywhere for Alistar to farm. That may be mitigated by the fact he actually has serious presence, even if he gets very, very little farm indeed. Freeze is actually going to be left to solo farm up here for a little while. I'm not sure if he's finishing that tower off or not. Can't see it, but yeah, should be able to finish that match.
Should be able to finish that off, and they also get a good, nice minion denial as well. It will reset the, except for that 1-1, but it will reset the lane. Freeze getting a nice little bit of CS, gets the global gold from the tower as well. Smitty J still level 1 though, as is Cabochard.
He was unprepared, so he wasn't able to do the jungle for long.
No. But, plus as well, Rengar not exactly the best at not one who wants to be sharing his jungle, especially when he's trying to power farm to that level 6.
Yeah, that's definitely true, but I suspect they would have done had they been aware ahead of time, and they should have seen it coming, given the evade, given the heavy focus on the vision from NIP. Cabochard going to try and take advantage of.
Yeah, here we go. It's level 2 there with Smitty J's way. Here comes Kikis and I'm So Fresh. This will be a 2v2. Cabochard is still very strong. He's trying to spam out Ghost now.
Flash.
Trying to get something. He has got Flash. He hasn't got Headbutt Pulverize, though. I don't think he's got it just up now. Will they try go for it? There's the slow. Here comes Astari. They're committing quite a lot to denying Smitty J. And honestly, it's a lot of effort for very little gain. They burned the Flash, yes, but he can just run around with Rengar now, just go into the jungle.
Yeah, it's not going to be worth as much to him now, though, to try and clear the jungle for that experience. Most likely where Yorick is going to be is just going to be waiting for the wave to hit towards that tower now. But what this is doing for NIP is it's giving Freeze an awful lot of farm, and reaching now 1 versus 1 in that lane, which is a lot less difficult for him to deal with than the 2v2 would have been if they had been in that lane as per usual. No farm denial in that early game. You have to watch it now, though.
Here we go now. Kikis actually forced a flash there in the middle. We'll go back down to the bot lane. A little bit of trading there, but Kikis getting a little bit over aggressive. Got caught there by I'm So Fresh. Forced the flash over the wall, and Rengar is going to be very, very dangerous. Actually, they might see him come back up to this top lane. Smitty J trying to do much onto Cabochard. Has got good sustain. Vi and Rengar both up here. They're both trying to see if they can get something from this, but the mid lanes are as well. Mid lane as well, trying to get something. Starry take a little bit of harass, nothing crazy. but does bait out the ultimate from Ziggs.
Yeah, it did force him away from the pink ward that he was killing, though. And right now, there is actually quite a significant vision battle going on in that upper jungle. If NIP have complete control over that area, then SmittyJ cannot go near this tower. You get Alistar freezing. He could just deny SmittyJ almost indefinitely. As it is, Kikis is spending a lot of time visible up there, just to make sure that wave hits tower so SmittyJ doesn't get frozen out. But if that vision in that area drops, then you either have to commit to 2 people up there from SmittyJ and Kikis, or you have to allow it to drop and potentially risk a fresh game. Alistar doesn't have to worry about it, of course. He's got a tower.
Trying to get a little bit of vision supremacy, and we were talking about now all their wards that they did have in that kind of river area are now very much gone. Now, where do you go now? The dragon's been taken now. There's no kind of like hint of another early dragon until it spawns. Top tower has also been taken. Really just kind of a wait to see what jungler does what, really, because at the moment it's kind of been... I'm So Fresh has definitely been making the more aggressive moves against Rengar.
Yeah, that is true. He's looking to exert that presence. Kikis is actually just in a battle to the death with blue buff, no worries. Yeah, at this point, I'm So Fresh has the greater presence. He's somewhat behind where he would like to be on experience, though. If we consider he's level 5 at this point, normally your jungler may be a little bit behind your mid laners, but not to this level or degree. I'm So Fresh, however, of course, is by doing that, shutting down his opponent jungler just as much while giving his team a little bit of an edge. Lack of an ult does actually cause him problems right now, though, because that top situation I mentioned before is harder to capitalize on without the ult.
This bot lane, though, is getting very much punished by this Ziz and Zaitan, Lucy and Nami combo. Power of Evil gets a couple of free shots on this tower. Gets the short fuse passive, does 100% extra damage to towers and structures.
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot, actually. Once he hits that late game, if he gets a Lich Bane as well, he can become quite the split pusher. Similar enough to Twisted Fate in that sense, but a
bit dangerous.
Very dangerous as a Yordle. Hasn't got as much as a big escape as a Destiny, if you like. Do wait to see now. Despite the heavy kind of, presence, yeah, York is ahead on farm.
Yeah, that's not too surprising. What we're seeing from Alistar right now is pretty much almost like a throwback to Season 1 roaming support Alistar. He's mobility boots, he's got an Amp Term and a Doran's Ring, which really isn't much. And he's just looking around trying to make ganks, but thus far, he's being stymied. He's not having a lot of luck, and the vision from SK Prime is causing that problem. There's a lot of messages going across.
Yeah, seems we can hear them down. There's an unpause now, but I think Alistar's roam down this bot lane will free it up because Dragon's up in 15 seconds. They need to get a little bit more pressure on this bot lane so they can roam for it. Try get another dragon, or they get the second dragon, I should say, for them. Deny it away from SK Prime. So you see Kikis and Kabushard finding each other in the river. But Ziz and Zaitan, they should be able to hold, might even take the tower right now in a minute if they keep pushing like this, because they're definitely having a dominance in this bot now.
They do. Right now, however, Alistar is in.
Yeah, that's a great headbutt onto Nami. Use the pulverize on the Ziz. They're trying to get a little bit more. It's dark binding onto Zaitan. They might try go in onto this. They're going to force the flash. Here comes Kikis. Here comes the Mega Inferno Bomb. They're going to get 2 more down. It's First Blood going over to Ziggs, though. Here comes the tidal wave, though. Freeze goes down as well. They force 1 splash away from Voidal. They are trying to turn on the Syndra. The ultimate from York was used. This is a 5v5. They do get the stun. Nice stun onto Kikis there. I think he was in his ultimate mode, so he wasn't actually available to be seen effectively. They are going to turn and burn and get the dragon, but nice turnaround from SK Prime.
Zaitan getting bound there actually worked out really, really well for SK Prime. NIP committed 2 people actually in tower range to try and burst him out, but they didn't quite chain their CC correctly. He flashed out, and then they were stuck in a situation where they were forced to retreat all into the Mega Inferno Bomb, all into the AoE. Alistar had already blown his combo. They really didn't have a lot to fight back, so they forced on the retreat. While they were retreating, they kept taking more and more damage, lost the men, lost the dragon when they lost the fight, and really a big, big swing for the team of SK.
Yeah, 2,500 gold now. That was a big, big swing in gold. As the farms really start to go in their favor now. Everything's kind of even, really, except in the bot lane. So we do see that the Infinity Edge, I should say, versus the Blade the Ruined King. So Lucian going to be going most likely for that Yomu's as well. Kikis has got his Madrids sitting on a little bit of gold, not a lot, but almost 1,000 as he tries to stack up his Madrids. Might go Feral Flare.
We'll see. It really does depend on how much farm he's able to get over the course of the game, but odds are, as a Rengar with his ult now, and given the 2v1s in the early game and all the jockeying for position that there's been, it's unlikely he'll have enough stacks to make it worth it. He'll probably just end up selling the Madrids Razors later on. Right now, though, remember, tier first on Smitty J, pickaxe as his second item. He was smart and moved away, but he's squishy, and that makes him a target.
Yeah, they really need to hit this York now before he starts getting items. He mightn't do a huge amount of damage, but he'll be annoying and persistent and almost, not impossible, but incredibly difficult to kill come the late game, because he'll have a lot of tanky stats. He'll have his sustain with his ghouls, and he'll also have a massive mana pool with that tier.
Yeah, limited damage, though, is the biggest problem with Yorick in the later game, and actually somewhat easy to kite as well. He's reliant on one small slow that's relatively short duration as well on that ranged ghoul, so can cause some problems. Doesn't matter so much if the rest of your team initiates for you, but in this case, SK Farm actually doesn't have great initiation. They've got, as you say, the Rengar, but they haven't got the combos, the standard combos that we see.
Turret has been destroyed.
SK Prime pushing more and more advantages now. They've already gotten their first tower of the game as well as those 2 dragons, as they try and push for even more of an advantage. You see now a lot of people now focusing around this mid lane. Cabochard going to clear a ward, Astari going to go back as well. But again, there's a lot of kind of focus now, and I think Power of Evil's definitely... he came across as you say, calling someone out, saying, I know this isn't a good matchup, I'm still going to beat you.
He's working.
He's working very well. He's equal enough on CS. He's, head on kills and objectives. So overall, his team are playing very, very well.
Yeah, it's a subtle thing because there's no obvious sign that Power of Evil is winning. He's actually now ahead on CS, but he was a tiny bit behind a second ago. There's no significant advantage he's really gained there. I mean, yes, he roamed down bot to get that one kill, but Ziggs versus Syndra is a matchup where if you put a foot wrong, you can die instantly. He hasn't put a foot wrong this entire time, and they've been left isolated in that lane for quite a significant proportion of the game. Admittedly, I don't think I've seen Smitty J actually ult at all so far, and that might be where we start to see some pressure exerted by the Syndra as well. But still, it's very good performance from Power of Evil. It's kind of what we expect.
Yeah, he ulted down the bot lane when they went for that re-engage, just to get the extra damage, the extra auto attacks. But again, the junglers have been a little bit kind of starved, I would feel, considering the items they're hitting. They haven't even finished off, well, Vi hasn't even finished off her Lizard Elder buff. Cabochard keeps finding pink wards and just roaming around, and despite him roaming so much, he's keeping up in CS, and that's a pretty kind of scary thing, the fact that York's kind of leaving him to do so much work by himself.
Yeah, at the moment, most of that work is actually related to vision, putting down wards and acting as somewhat of a support, but here comes a push suddenly from NIP. They feel like they've smelled a weakness. They know Zizen's item was committed in the bot lane. Can they get the tower? But if they do... Okay, they forced the ultimate from Power of Evil. That's always going to be a problem for them, but they've got the Rengar ult. He's committed. Will he actually go?
Yes, he will. He jumps in the Voidal there, gets a good stun. Wow, absolutely just decimator right there. An incredibly squishy Morgana. This tower is going to go down as well. They might keep going onto this. They have got the empowered Bola. They don't get it. They get the slow on the Cabochard. Good Scatter of the Week, though, does stop any kind of follow-up. An overcommitment from Ninjas in Pajamas, really not playing the map that well at all.
Smitty says hi, says bye. Ghouls and ghosts abound, and he will be able to take out that pink ward. Not going to be punished for it. He's actually a little bit brave to do that, honestly. NIP could, for all he knew, have been about to jump on him. There was that one ward, I guess, in The brush. I don't know what to call that brush. The brush that's as you're going towards the death brush near Baron. That one there.
Yeah.
What do you call that brush?
The bait bush.
I guess it's like I guess it's just behind the wolf camp. But
yes. I don't know. It hasn't got its own secular name.
It doesn't have a name.
No. Maybe it's a transition brush because you'll always go past it and you'll never stop in it.
It's a good place to pink ward in solo queue.
It's a very good place to pink ward.
People don't check it. It's silly.
There's another dragon spawning. This will be the third one of the game, and right now it is 3-0 to kills, 2-1 to towers in favor of SK Prime, and they look like they're going to be going 3-0 in Dragon's Vi. Not really around. Oh, she's up the top side of the map, so that was Morgana towards the side. We do see them now trying to invade it, trying to get something onto this. He's going to jump on the Smitty J. I'm so fresh. He needs to back away, though. Oh, never mind. He's going to jump in, but this is a very bad hit. He has forces to use his flash. There's the ultimate from Smitty J as well. Very aggressive from I'm so fresh, but very much not needed.
He could have fought that one-on-one. That is true. Interesting fight there. No Sheen proc used from Capcharge.
No, and there's the Blade of the Ruin King passive. He uses the Unbreakable as well. 70% rate. He can kite this, though. Here comes Kikis. This might be a very bad point. Oh, he flashes away from the Relentless Pursuit. Ziz picking up that one. Kikis wasn't even need. There for extra security, though. And that will be another kill going over towards Lucian. He is getting pretty damn big, but they go in onto I'm So Fresh. He is going to go down as he did not have a flash there. Freeze needs to get out very, very quickly. Good Dark Binding there onto Zaitan. Going to be able to get him out. Kikis needs to be careful as well. He's going to try go invisible. He will go invisible just in time. They are going to try to jump this onto Astari. It's a good satchel charge. He's forced to flash away. They actually forced the flash away as well from Rengar as he wasn't. Oh, there's a good empowered Bola. He's going to be able to stop Astari from killing him. Flash is being burned left, right, and center, but at the end of the day, SK Prime coming out on top.
Yeah, and Ninjas in Pajamas managed to get themselves caught out with a numbers disadvantage in 2 places on the map at the same time, or slightly staggered, I suppose you could say, but that is a sign of bad decision-making. Honestly, you should not be in a position where you can get jumped on and bursted out like that. Even though they nearly got a kill in return with Istari jumping on Kikis, they actually didn't, and it still would have been a bad trade for them had they managed to get that.
They look a bit lost, Ninjas in Pajamas, right now. They look like they don't really know what to go for. They're always late for the Dragon Timers. They're always getting caught out. You know, they're burning their flashes unnecessarily sometimes, and it's being punished by SK Prime, and rightly so. SK Prime are playing the map and the kind of timers of summoners and objectives very, very well.
Yeah, and it's telling that the biggest problem for NIP is their objective control. Their fighting, their mechanics and stuff hasn't been too bad at all, really. But SK Prime have built themselves 6,000 gold advantage with, what about only 1,500-ish of that gold being accounted for in kills. Only 5 kills over their opponents, and yet thousands more just taken away off of the map. Not even having to fight for it.
It's very, very difficult right now. The farm numbers are starting to pick up now for the mid lane and the carry, AD carry of SK Prime. We do see roughly about 20 CS, well, about 10, 15 in the mid lane. 20 or 10, I should say, in the bot lane. So they are starting to push a little bit of his advantages. They also have kills on their carries, but look at the kill distribution as well. They have literally got a kill on absolutely everybody except for Nami, which is one you don't want kills on, and even then she has 4 assists.
Yeah, it's gonna be tricky to deal with this team now as well for SK Prime. Normally, when people put Yorick and it goes wrong, it's actually a later game. It's either a super late game or an early game thing. They kill him when he's squishy, or they kill him later on.
Oh, there we go. I'm So Fresh goes in onto Power of Evil. He actually needs to get out, though. Kick is going to take him out. 4 people all of a sudden just appeared. Zaitan came in with Power of Evil. I'm pretty sure that I'm So Fresh did not see the Nami. Immediate tidal wave there to stop any kind of follow-up there. And the teleport from Yorick was able to secure the kill. Kikis was taking a little bit low, but in the end, again, an overcommitment from I'm So Fresh.
And it looks like the push is on in SK Prime's bot lane. in mid lane. They are actually going to catch him. Oh,
Yeah.
and Dark Binding.
That was a great Dark Binding. And here we go. There's 4 people in this bot lane. You do see Kick a Spinny J Shard trying to defend this inner turret. He does do that successfully. I think that was pretty much because Ziggs was killed. They don't really know where everybody is on the map. Not a great amount of wards covering the jungles. 1 or 2 dotted around the place, but Dragon up in just under a minute and a half. That will be the next objective, but a little bit of a small kind of misplay from Power of Evil getting caught out, but in the end, they're still very much ahead.
I know, it hasn't changed the game that much at this point. However, it is worth noting that was a very, very good Dark Binding from Voidal, and it had the knock-on effect of not allowing them to snowball further. That bot tower push, as you say, most likely would have continued had Power of Evil been alive, or had he even just managed to disengage properly. The reason SK Prime ran, even though it was actually a 2v4 hold from their opponents, was that they did not want to risk getting caught up in a long fight where eventually the numbers of Spartans could come back to fight them. So they took the lower risk approach, and that has meant that NIP have gained actually quite little from this, but it is still a potential issue for them. Certainly not the way they intended it to go.
No, definitely not. But just having a quick look at items. Do you see the Spirit Visage finished up for York? But you actually see the Feral Flare upgraded and everything with the stack. So Rengar did finish up that item. Did get 2 kills as well. So maybe you got to combo the farm with the kills. Getting that kind of combo going. But you see an Aether Wisp on the side of Zig. So he's going to be going towards that Lich Bane, as we talked about earlier. Yomu's and Bork finished off for Ziz, as well as the makings of a Mikhail's Crucible for Nami. Kick is going to be able to take out the dragon himself. That's going to be another dragon going in favor of SK Prime. Again, the objective control is big. They even threw the Mega Inferno Bomb just to check if Baron was there. Oh?
That looks like an en masse disconnect.
Yes, it does.
Power of Evil still in.
Yes, that is very,
Someone
very curious. And no one has paused yet, so...
I mean, both teams seem to have disconnected to a degree.
No, it's just
Nami's gone.
Nami's gone. There it is.
It's a courtesy pause.
Yeah, I think that was more so kind of, okay, it's 4v0 right now.
Yes, that's an unusual one. I don't know what's happened there. I kind of wonder, maybe it's like, maybe like all of Ninjas in Pajamas computers are all on the same... like adapter plug. Maybe and overloaded the circuit.
As well as Nami.
Don't put too many computers on one plug.
And always remember, make sure you're on the different team, you know, because Zaitan went as well, so he could have been plugged in as well.
It's possible.
It's very possible. I don't know how long or what happened really.
I am curious. I will try and find out.
Yeah, I would love to know. But this is a quick look as quick look at items, very, very quickly. Alistair has got his Moby Boots, actually upgraded them to get the, I think it's Distortion, isn't it? To get the lower cooldown on Teleport and Flash.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. But he hasn't finished up that Triforce. That is a pretty big thing for Alistair right now, because at the moment he's just being a really fast cow.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about Alistair, if he's not built with any damage at all, is he can be a threat without being actually built for much damage in the early game, but later on he will fall off like a stone if you don't build any damage on him. So the Triforce is usually what we see, and this is actually true of a lot of bruisers, but it's particularly true of Alistair, and that's why we see a lot of bruisers building that 1 damage item and then they build tank. Alistair is a classic case of bruiseritis, but apparently it was a power cut that has caused a problem. I'm
too much
glad that Power of Evil had like a hand crank and he's just keeping on going.
Yeah, just kept going. That was odd how it only affected effectively one side.
Yeah, I guess it must have been like just one power line. Apparently, full on blackout there. Oh, okay, full on.
Actually, yeah, we don't have the blue and red lights on the TeamSpeak. There's a little overview of the Overwolf. We used to have red and blue on the side of TeamSpeak and on Overwolf, so they've lost that as well. Very, very curious to see how long this is going to take, you know. It's a bit like, do you remember the Super Bowl a couple of years ago in New Orleans when half the stadium just blacked out?
Listen to my accent. Do I watch the Super Bowl?
You could just be a fan of competitive play.
I would choose a better competitive sport.
Fair enough, fair enough. But yes, it is very, very curious. We will try our best to, figure out how long this delay is going to be. But coming into that stage of the game, just quickly before we get any kind of more information on anything else, really, as Ninjas and Pajamas, where do you go from here? Like, they've lost towers, they've lost every single dragon on the button from the point it was taken very, very early. What can you do to get past this snowball, to break it down?
They have tools to pick people off. That is always the classic comeback mechanic. That's how games get lost in solo queue when you're 20k ahead, because people walk out in stupid places, they get caught out by a Vi, they get caught out by, somebody who has CC, and from that point onwards, a dark binding, something like that, from that point onwards, your life may well be forfeit. But SK Prime are not putting foots wrong, they're playing feet wrong, collectively. They are just applying map pressure very, very slowly, very, very methodically, and they're increasing their lead a little bit at a time. So in this situation, looking for picks is going to be very, very unreliable. You can try and fight for vision control, which can sometimes draw teams that are ahead into fight for that kind of a situation. But really, it's going to be very, very tricky for them. We have actually, if you were to look back at the game itself, you could actually see right now Vi has built, starting to build towards Randuin's Omen. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to get tanky to not get bursted out, but I actually almost think that's like the wrong way to go. It's like, this is my weird view. It's like, if you're doing really, really well, you build damage on Vi, because that way you can snowball ahead and you can rely on your base stats to be tanky.
And destroy
If you're
the
doing
carries.
decent, then you want to build your first item, your Spirit of the Elder Lizard, and you can, and then you go tanky, because then you are a team fight presence. You're a big damage threat. You're never going to be able to 100-0 someone, even if you build full damage with like a medium gold income. But if you're doing really, really badly, you need to build full damage just on the off chance you can catch someone out in a small fight. So you can really, really punish bad positioning without needing to worry about actual team fights, because you're going to lose a team fight whatever you do.
Yeah, but even then, SK Prime, like we saw it from Ninjas Pajamas, Vi was nearly living in the enemy red buff. She was always there with Cabo Shard looking for the red buff invade. They were looking for picks, and I must say it's a little bit of a kind of a disappointing game from Astari. His Syndra hasn't had the impact that we've expected it to. Going into a lane against Ziggs, we expecting either to push the lane and roam, or to just flat out just keep Ziggs very, very low and unable to do anything. I think they've been looking for picks, but SK Prime have been amazing in their positioning. They've literally stopped any kind of every time they've nearly been caught, they've gotten away and forced something back. They've made a good reaction. It's not so much how they've been making great plays, it's how they've been outplaying Ninjas in Pajamas.
Yeah, they're not very reliant on the individual great plays. They have got some very, very good players, particularly Power of Evil has actually done some very smart things with his Ziggs bombs, and you can actually remember stuff like when Smitty J was fighting against I'm So Fresh in the jungle. For instance, that engagement was turned around by the coordination of SK Prime, because he knew the Ziggs ult would be coming in, so he stayed and fought, and that forced the Flash away from I'm So Fresh, who had to sort out that fight initially. That's the kind of difference that they are dealing with here, and that's kind of why I end up having to think about that's kind of why I end up thinking they should maybe be just trying to bank on their individual skill again, rather than looking for the team play, which I know is a less than optimal strategy usually, but sometimes you just have to go with what you've actually got rather than what you wish you had.
I found their decision making was very, very peculiar. Like, there was one point where 4 of them ended up in mid, and they tried to go for a fast push. You're against the Ziggs. You can't do that unless you kill the Ziggs, or you have a very significant numbers advantage, or you catch him out completely. He just popped down his minefield, popped down his ult, and a couple of Qs, and the wave was gone. They couldn't do anything. They got no push, very little tower damage, if any. And that's the kind of thing you should be looking to not do. You need to know what your strengths are as a team and what your weaknesses are going up against the team you're playing against, and trying to siege against the master of anti-siege, which is Ziggs. It's nigh impossible.
Yeah, Ziggs ult is a get out of siege free card. It's a one use, yes, especially since they've increased the cooldown in recent patch. But you can't push against it in the early game unless you've got someone very, very tanky. And at that point, NIP simply did not have that, so they were really very much stuck. And if you commit that many people to a push that doesn't happen, then you aren't going to be doing very well. SK Prime will take something in return. This is actually something that the less experienced, the less clever teams will tend to not take advantage of, is the commitment from your enemy.
Yes.
Even if you haven't killed anyone, you can still use that to take objectives. You can still use that to take farm. SK Prime are very, very good at doing that.
Yeah, a perfect example is when they forced I'm So Fresh's Flash when he was in that 1v1 with the York and with Smitty J, and immediately, like about 2 or 3 minutes later, knowing that the Flash was down, they immediately jumped onto the Vi, knowing they could kill him.
Yeah. So apparently the lights are back on. We did show a crowd shot a little bit of a while ago. Might come back up again in a minute. I don't know. Maybe. Mysteries abound. But certainly lights back on presumably means computers booting up. That could take a minute or two yet. Got to load the client, get back into the game. It's a good thing that not all the PCs crashed, though, or the game would have disappeared.
That's very, very true. They can still go back into the game. They can still reconnect and everything like that, which is incredibly good. We're actually back into the game. That was very, very quick.
Oh, SSDs.
Everyone back into game. Everyone as quick as they possibly can. So you see Cabochard going up against Power V. That's a great minefield as well as the Satchel Charge. They're going to force the ultimate out of Cabochard. He's going to have to give up that turret, but they might just keep chasing him here. Here's the ultimate from Nami. Forces the flash from Cabochard. Good heaven. Yeah, that was very smart. Flashing over and then using the vision of the big white camp to kill it, but that's going to be another tower going in favor of Power of Evil. They're going through the motions right now. They do sacrifice mid lane turret though and a little bit of farm for Syndra, but they are going through the motions. They know they're ahead and they're just trying to push their advantage.
This might end up in actually a bit of a mini base race though, because if we look, there is NIP shoving in on this mid lane. They've got the teleport. That's going to mean the tower lasts for a lot less time, and the minion wave does last a lot longer.
Very nicely done there by Ninja Pajamas, but it's not over yet. Ziz is going to go in. The Mega Inferno Bomb's going to hit nobody. That was a big, big misplay. They're trying to jump on the kick us. They actually get onto Ziz, though, first of all. That's a very nice turnaround there from Ninjas in Pajamas. They've come out of this kind of slight pause with guns a-blazing. They're trying to keep going around. They're a little bit out of position. The Starry is very low. Cabochard gets caught by the empowered Bola. They may have to commit too much people to this there. I'm So Fresh trying to go in. They're trying to go into... Oh, that's a good trade back there. Zaitan goes down. They're trying to jump on the kickers. They may be able to take this one down as well. This could be a good trade back. Not quite, though. Kikis got ultimate from Smitty J. They had enough power to kill him. Aggro's the Wolves, then quickly has to run away just to get the empowered off. But so in the end, it was a 2 for 2. But they got 2 towers out of it compared to 1. So good rotation there from Ninjas and Pajamas.
Yeah, that was actually a very, very good call by them. They were aware that if it came to a straight base race, they would actually end up winning out there overall. And that was what forced SK Prime then to rotate to actually respond to NIP. It was the proactive move from NIP that we've not seen a lot of in this entire game. That could also have actually gone even better for them. Freeze was very nearly able to pick up a kill and hence a reset and hence position himself in such a way as to make that fight swing much more heavily in their favor. However, SK Prime never wants to rest on their laurels, are setting up for this, and they are tanky and sustained. Heals on Yorick, Nami, and on Rengar. I mean, they can tank this very, very safely.
Oh, this is a very good low Cabochard going in there, still tanking the Dragon. The ultimate is still down from Yorick. This is actually could be a pretty big problem. I'm So Fresh goes in. He is 3v1ing, 4v1ing actually, as Kikis does take him down. They are trying to turn back onto the Starry. They may just try turn and burn. They do kill the jungler. This should be the Baron, but they might try to go back in. Syndra is still a very scary person.
Freeze took a lot of damage before that fight now. Can he get in range? Can he even lifesteal off a wolf camp? I do not know. I cannot see.
Oh, we can't see right now. He's angling himself. They might try go for this, though. There is a ward there in the back. They aren't going to be able to get it, though. There it is. They stop the Baron just ever so slightly. They pick up the Baron. Very nicely done. A little small hiccup from SK Prime, but they realize it. They come back and they hit hard.
Yeah, that was a very, very smart Baron call by them. What they did in starting that Baron, they knew there was vision there. They forced NIP to come to them, but they also knew that I'm So Fresh was split off from the rest. which meant that given how little damage SK Prime takes from doing Baron with all the heals, they could turn zone off one half of the team and engage on the other. In this case, they engaged on I'm So Fresh, who was alone, murdered him very summarily in short order, and hence were able to just walk back to the Baron. I'm not exactly sure how Freeze took the damage in the first place, presumably from the Ziggs ultimate, but when he took that damage, that also meant that NIP could no longer even consider the option of re-engaging.
Yeah, they are very much behind now. They really won't want to fight SKP, let alone with this 9,000 gold lead. Well, just under 9,000. But as well as that, they don't really want to go against the Baroned up SK Prime team, especially with the items. Thornmail, though, picked up for Vi. Nice. I think that's a good adaptation, though, in fairness, because as you were saying, because she's behind, she wants to be damaged, but this will technically give her damage because it will nullify the life-stealing effects of the Play the Room King on Lucian.
That is true.
Ooh.
Good ult.
Very, very good ult. Gets a nice one as well there away. Zaitan just trying to show the bubble, saying hi, and then realized he was very, very alone and had to back away.
I think they miscommunication. Kikis could have followed that up potentially, but they didn't want to risk getting engaged on.
No, realistically, everyone was in the mid lane for Ninjas and Pajamas. They could have very easily just roamed up if they had gotten a good slow or anything onto Kikis if he had overextended. But we do see now a 4-0-1 with Cabochard going down to the bot lane to deal with Smitty J. They are trying to get a bit more I'm So Fresh, trying to use his Q to get over the wall. Make sure he can defend. Again, we'll stick down here for a moment. That was a little bit of a crazy engagement there, but we'll go back up to the top lane now. See if we can do that.
I don't really think there's going to be much going on in the bot lane. Smitty J is actually putting down quite a decent bit of harass there. Good damage. Is enabling them, essentially.
Oh, here we go. They're going to use the Mega for the bomb. They actually get the kill onto Astari. Very nicely done. Good combo of ultimates. That's a good kill for them. They are going to stick around in this top lane. They're going to be able to siege this up. Little bug there. Just fix it up now. They are going to be able to siege this up with the sustain of Kikis and Zaitan. It's another turret, and I think Cabochard's going to have trouble defending this bot lane as well. We do get small glimpses of the thing going down. Smitty J going to take that one up. So that's 2 turrets with using this Baron buff very, very effectively. They might even keep going. Astari is still down.
Yeah, it looks like we will be seeing this Inhib tower drop very, very low. Baron regen. No Lich Bane yet on Power of Evil, but he's a big threat. And Smitty J is also just pushing down. They may well be fighting in top.
Yeah, they could be fighting at top now. They're actually not really doing anything. Everybody just kind of kiting back. They're trying to get this tower back up to full health. Smitty J did get a bit of damage onto that top turret. Trying to, running around. Ziggs trying to throw some bombs over the side. There's a cannon minion thrown over the side there as we get more and more. But if we go down to this bot lane, he is still going. He's going to get this.
Yeah, they are going to pick up an Inhib tower. Vi is down there. She cannot possibly fight him anymore. And it looks like we may have a continued siege of SK Prime. They've broken, of course, the Inhib circle, essentially. Smitty J is just impossible for them to deal with.
No one can
deal with desperation engage.
Here we go. There comes the teleport as well. They're trying to go in. York's going to come in from the backside. Here comes the Mega Further Bomb. Hits on the 3. They have to use the heal from Freeze. They are trying to go on the Cabochard. He is left by himself. His ult is going to run off. Just about gets out, though. Desperation engaged, but it forces the York teleport, gets him off the inhibitor, and technically they kind of came out on top of that. Technically. If they saved the turret, they forced them back, and they saved the inhibitor, so they only lost realistically an inhibitor or an inhibitor turret. When realistically, if York had just kept going, they could have just gotten an inhibitor.
It kind of depends when you're counting from, I guess.
Yes.
Because if you're counting from the start of that push overall, SK Prime wins and wins and doesn't stop winning. But if you're counting from when the Inhib tower already went down, yeah, arguably NIP did do the best thing for that situation, but it doesn't change the fact that their situation right now is horrific. They have very few options for defending, but another desperation engage. SK Prime will absolutely see it coming. And I just don't think that Freeze has farmed up enough yet to be the carry his team desperately needs in this situation.
No, he really hasn't got the items. He's got his 2 relatively big items. He's got a static shiv and an IE. He needs a Last Whisper. He needs lifesteal realistically to sustain in these fights. You do see now they might try go for this steal as the jungler. Everyone's kind of gathering around for this now. They are going to go in onto this. They do get a good stun on the Zaitan. Power People gets ulted on. He's actually taking bursting down completely. Zaitan might go down as well. That's a good double kill onto Tristana.
Don't do it, Kikis.
There he goes. He jumps in. He's trying to go for something. He has to flash away. They do get the Empower Bola onto Cabochard. That's going to stop him from engaging. They're trying to jump onto Swinny J. Oh, he jumps in. He jumps in again. He's going to be able to get the good pulling. Here we go. Swinny J coming in from the side. They're trying to jump on the Kikis though. Cabochard gets a good pulverize on the 2 of them. He jumps, puts Sizz right into the flesh. I'm so fresh. Trying to do this. Cabochard going to go down as well. This is a good move there by Swinny J and Kikis. Swinny J did a great job of zoning off everybody, and in the end, they end up getting the dragon. There's no smite. They can't steal this.
The 2-man contest against, what, 4 or 5? It was not a fight they should have been able to win, but the gold advantage and the simple fact that Sizz is just doing a ton of damage meant they got the dragon, stole away that small pinprick of light at the end of the tunnel for NIP, and then they put a big black bit of cloth over the end. So
13,000 golds at the moment is the difference between SK Prime. And let's see how that translates into lanes. We see a 3,000, just under 3,000 gold lead in the top lane, as well as a 2,000 gold lead, or 3,000 gold lead, I should say, in the jungle. Mid lane has about 2,000. Honestly, it's just looking very, very bad. 2,000 in the bot lane as well for Sizz, as well as about 3,000 actually. Well, just under 3,000 for Zaitan over Voidal. Every single lane is winning. Every single lane is doing fantastically well. Even though they lost 2, that was a 3v5, and they still lost.
The most important gold right now for NIP is what Freeze has, however. I always say you can never count out a team that has a Tristana on it, simply because there's always that CLG potential. But it's very, very unlikely at this point, and it looks like it's going to be another desperation engage. If they get there in time, maybe they can get Baron to do the work for them.
No, he gets down far too quickly. Cabochard jumped in. He's going to pop his ultimate. They are trying to jump onto somebody. Here comes the great, actually, AoE from Soul Shackles. They try to go in for Freeze. It's still doing damage. They're trying to go on. Syndra goes down. Morgana went down. Yorick went down as well. He is technically still alive, though, as his ultimate goes out. It's a triple kill for Kikis. He is 8-0-5. You do not give Kikis that jungler. And they're just going to barrel up the mid lane. Honestly, with only Tristana left, with these death timers as well, this could be game.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised they're not going for that bottom inhib and then looking to tank it out with Kikis, but slightly safer option, I suppose, is just to take all of the buildings and kill them all. And
well, they had minions in the mid lane. There is no minions at the moment, so there would have been a lot longer. They can take both now with a couple of minions, and very, very well played from SK Prime. Yes, they're actually going to back away. I suppose the death timers are starting to come up. I'm not sure the
necessity of it, but they're going to just do it anyway. They may as well.
Yeah, that's nearly 20,000 gold. That's how far ahead. Kikis has been...
Gold gap.
Kikis has been a monster in this game. 8-0-5. He is 13 out of 16 kill participation. He has farmed exceptionally well. 30 more than his counterpart. Has got a GA, he's got a Dormel, got a Spirit Visage, all the armors. Even got his Feral Flare stacking up rather nicely. I wonder actually if I can, how much that is stacked up for him right now. Doesn't quite say. But he has picked up 200 and something gold. See over here.
Wait, it's dodging you.
It's dodging me there. It's got about 20 stacks on it there, so it is actually quite economic for him.
Yeah.
Is getting him the items he needs.
Feral Flare is a wonderful item.
It's
just Wriggle's Lantern sucks.
Yes, Wriggle's Lantern does suck. But again, it's all about whether or not you can stack it, and he has done exceptionally well. He is super tanky as well as got a decent amount of damage because of the Feral Flare.
Yep, NIP are in for desperation tactics. It's the Fanatic Brush, ladies and gentlemen. Time to go!
Oh, here we go. They're going to jump at the Spitty J. He actually flashes away. It's a good flash. They're not going to be able to get the Soul Shackles or the Dark Binding. Now he might try and turn this around. We do see them all in the top lane. They actually kick us, jump in anyway. That is just crazy amounts of damage right there. They can't do anything. Cabochard might get caught out. He actually gets minion blocked minion block completely. Here comes the ult, or the teleport, I should say, from Smitty J. They're going to jump in. Cabo Charger ultimate just ran off. That's a good tidal wave. They may be able to jump on the freeze. Kickus trying to jump onto him there. They do kill off I'm So Fresh. Ziz did get ulted by the Yorick. He's going to be able to tank up that tower. This is going to pretty much be game. They'll be the first team on the red or purple side to take a game in this tournament. Just slowly bring down this tower, but very, very well played there by SK Prime. Commiserations, though, to Ninjas in Pajamas. They take down Cabochard. They take down Morgana. They nearly take down. They do actually take down Ziz, giving him another kill. In the end, it is going to be SK Prime taking it with a nice win over Ninjas in Pajamas.
Yeah, that's a little bit sad for Ninjas in Pajamas, given that they were one of the better teams that came into this tournament. But the fact that they're using subs really does seem to be working against them. They look a little bit lost, don't seem to have the same purpose behind their movements on the map. And while we did see some flashes of greatness with a couple of those engages, really overall it was just all SK Prime all the time.
Yeah, and I think as well, they're not out of it yet, though. They do drop down to the losers bracket against Spartiate, who they did beat already. So
yes.
they could draw some, confidence from that. They're not quite out of it. But again, SK Prime look exceptionally strong.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tricky road to get past them at all. H2K, of course, is their nemesis from the Riot Challenger Series and did, in fact, beat them, though. So they'll be looking to reclaim some glory if they can meet that team. But they wouldn't be meeting until the finals if it happened. So,
well, they'll meet in
the winners bracket finals.
And
then they would go, and then assuming they were to just keep winning all the time, they would then go down to the lowest bracket finals, and then they would go to the grand finals and play again. So
yes.
They have a couple of games coming up, but certainly the winners bracket final will be tomorrow, I believe.
Yes.
And that will be H2K versus SK Prime. Still got some more games coming up today, or in fact just the one game, eSuper versus N-Faculty in the lower bracket.
Yeah. And neither team really impressed us over the two games that we did see for these two teams.
It felt like they didn't show up.
No, they didn't really. And Faculty, we felt, were a bit kind of shell-shocked, maybe a little bit nervous, a little bit kind of, had to feel as if they kind of had to pull out great moves, which really worked against them. I'm hoping that they can come back. Isuba, we don't really know a lot about them, but they seem to have a little bit of a spark. Just hopefully it can ignite and give them something back in this game, and hopefully it'll be a very good series.
Yeah, they had some flashes as well themselves. So
they all have flashes.
They all have flashes.
Yeah.
Well, not always. You may get a singed in your game.
Very unlikely.
Yes, I'm sure. But regardless, the game being concluded, we have got another hour or so break, I believe, until the next game, which will be our last of today, which we have just mentioned, eSuper versus the opponents that have dropped in, and my dropped out of my brain because I was thinking about them mere seconds ago. However, if you have enjoyed this cast, feel free to follow FACEIT. They have some social media, which should be popping up at the bottom of the screen. Also check out their main website where you can get yourself matched up for skill-appropriate games of 5s, 3s, 1 versus 1s, whatever you want. And indeed, they cover more than just League as well. So do that, get some prizes, make friends, get matched up, etc., etc. Also check out TeamSpeak and Overwolf, who have been sponsoring this tourney. We will be back with you in
we'll be back
some time.
Yes, we will be back.
An hour or so.